We're so pleased to recognize Mr. Ribble of Wisconsin, a new member of our committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank the panel. You guys have been patient this morning. Thanks for being here. Mr. Glaser, how large is North Korea's GDP?
I'm sorry, Congressman. I don't have the exact number. It's relatively small, certainly for a country that size, but we can get you the percentage.
Okay, Mr. Kim, do you know by any chance? Okay. I mean, reports would tell us it's somewhere in the range of 13 to 20 billion, somewhere in that. Does that sound reasonable to you from what you can say? I'm going to go back to the line of questioning. Given that about 25% of their GDP is agriculture, it's really relatively small. I'll give you a point of reference. Sony Pictures' annual revenue is $8 billion. So if their GDP is at the lower end of that spectrum, you remove the amount for agriculture, Sony's revenue is about the same size as their GDP. So this goes back to the money. I think ultimately, if you can follow the money, you can get some sense of what their capabilities actually are. I'm curious again on the money, where it's coming from, and could you talk to us a little bit about the use of forced labor in North Korea? And is that part of where the money's coming from, or at least the workforce is coming from?
Well, as far as their access to hard currency, there is a little bit of legitimate trade that they engage in with a variety of countries. They also receive a significant amount of support from China. And then, of course, they engage in a variety of illicit activity to supplement their income. As you point out, they're a very small country. They really only care about the needs of the top echelons of their society. So by engaging in illicit activity, illicit financial activity, by engaging in conventional arms sales, they can raise hard currency that keeps things comfortable, at least for the small group of people that's on top. That's why that presents us challenges and opportunities. The challenges are they don't need broad access. When you're dealing with a country, say, like Iran, and you look at our sanctions programs with respect to Iran, it was a target-rich environment. And the idea was, this is a large economy. We need to shut off broad access. We've already, as I had the exchange with Chairman Royce, that's already been accomplished with North Korea based on actions that we've taken in the past, and just based on the fact that they self-impose isolation on themselves. So the idea is trying to identify the nodes that you could put your finger on that really have an impact. Foreign Trade Bank, Daedong Bank, Daesung Bank. These are points of access to the financial system. And then how do you work with where they get their key points of access, namely China, to persuade the Chinese that it's in Chinese interest. There's been a lot of questions on why would China work with us? China's not going to do us any favors. China's going to work with us because it's precisely in their interest that North Korea not engage in illicit activity, because it's precisely in their interest that North Korea not abuse their financial system. We've seen their commercial banks make that decision time and again. So that's the challenge. That's the strategy. It's frustrating because it's difficult, but it's something that we've been committed to for 10 years, and it's something that we're committed to continuing.
It's extraordinarily frustrating because the economy is so small. It is difficult to get it. That's why my question went more on forced labor and human trafficking, the element of revenue that's there, because free labor is actually could be a large number. And are you aware, in essence, forced labor to do construction or anything?
Well, sure. North Korea is a human rights disaster. And as I've said before, the North Korean government bears full responsibility for all the misery that they inflict on their people. I would defer to Ambassador Kim to get into the details of how of the precise mechanisms by which they oppress their people, but certainly there have been extensive reports on their use of forced labor.
Ambassador Kim, would you like to add anything?
Thank you. I would just add that we know that forced labor is a part of North Korean human rights abuse. We don't have any figures on how much that contributes to their GDP. But the important thing is that the North Korean human rights record is among the worst, if not the worst. And this is why we need to pay more attention to this issue. This is why I think what happened in the UN context last year is so significant, with both the Commission of Inquiry report findings as well as the overwhelming passage of the human rights resolutions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back.